Today we are talking about generational marketing for nonprofit fundraising because each generation has unique life experiences that influences their giving habits and preferences, and knowing these preferences is crucial to developing our fund development strategy, our nonprofit marketing plan, and even our cultivation and stewardship practices. Now, I worked for an organization a while back where I kept bumping up against resistance when I tried to implement more digital strategies. In their defense, the development team was comprised of baby boomers and the silent generation. And they would often say things like, I would never participate in that, or I wouldn't do that. But younger donors do participate in digital fundraising. In fact, they prefer it. And one of the biggest mistakes that we can make as fundraisers is to fail to see how our donors want to be asked, engaged, and recognized. It's not about what we would connect with, it's about what our different donors would connect with. So in today's video, we're going to cover the 5 main generations, and I've broken each generation up using timestamps, and I'm going to link that below so you can come back and review this video again if you're working on a specific campaign for a specific generation. So hit the thumbs up and let's get to it. Before we begin, I want to get a little technical and touch on donor segmentation. It's a strategy where we split our donor populations into smaller groups or segments based on similarities in giving preferences, communication preferences, or other factors like demographics. Donor segmentation allows us to target each segment with communications, ask, engagement, and recognition that they would prefer instead of just blasting out one generic and uninspiring campaign. Now, generational marketing is about creating prospective donor personas based on our segmented donor population using the generational information. So each generation has its own set of values, preferences, and shared experiences, which influences the way they think, act, and donate. And not all generations are created equal. Growing up during different economic times, different technological advances, different politics, it all shapes our preferences and the way we connect with causes that we are passionate about. For example, younger, tech-savvy donors embrace mobile and social giving trends, while seniors still donate heavily through direct mail. So Gen Zers were born 1996 to about present and make up about 20.4% of the US population. And Gen Zers grew up watching their parents struggle with an unstable economy and a highly charged political environment around social issues. And this has really helped define their beliefs and has pushed many of them to become activists for change. They're often referred to as philanthropeteers, meaning they're motivated to support nonprofit organizations and drive social change. While many Gen Zers are not yet old enough to be working and making their own donations, they are becoming one of the most socially conscious generations. They are one of the largest potential donor bases, so learning to engage and communicate with them now can make a significant difference for charities in years to come. Now, some giving stats. 30% have donated to a charity, and 59% were motivated to make that gift because of something they saw on social media. And 10% want to start their own nonprofit organization. Social media is the best way to connect with Gen Zers. 98% have a smartphone and they're on social media about 15 hours a week. And the best way to attract them is with video content or social media influencers. Influencers play a huge role in defining the organizations that Gen Zers trust. You need to be savvy and authentic with your social media though, because Gen Z is also savvy. They become very adept at collecting and analyzing information online. They are comfortable with technology and prefer virtual experiences and ways of communicating. As such, they have a strong preference for mobile giving. Innovation, convenience, security, and escapism. These are the top trends among Gen Zs, and I've covered many of these, such as fundraising in the metaverse, QR codes, tapping into new platforms like Discord and TikTok, because it's essential to stay updated on technology and media to keep up with these young donors. And finally, accountability. Transparency is crucial for this generation because they value honesty and integrity from the organizations they support. Now, millennials, aka Gen Y, were born 1981 to 1995, and they make up about 25.9% of the US population. And millennials grew up in an age where we saw huge increases in technology, and they were introduced to social media platforms. My kids are millennials, and they share many of the common traits such as collaboration, expressiveness, empathy. While these young supporters may not have a giving capacity of older generations, they are the most active demographic donating to charity. They may not give as much or as often, but they donate their time and material goods. They're also the most involved in advocacy. Now, some giving stats: 84% give to charity, 40% are enrolled in monthly giving programs, and 46% donate to crowdfunding campaigns. Millennial and Gen Zs have the highest social media response rates. Still, this generation is more likely to engage with fundraising strategies like email campaigns and peer-to-peer campaigns. Millennials also have the highest response rates to text messages. They are tech savvy, so it's vital to make sure that our communications, our websites are all optimized and mobile friendly. Millennials want to engage with nonprofits online, and the best way to keep them engaged is to use responsive designs for emails, websites, and donation pages. Now, this generation is very connected to their peers, and they're more likely to participate in peer-to-peer and crowdfunding. They raise money for walks, runs, cycle events. They're also more likely to be influenced to donate by recommendations from their friends. So user-generated content is perfect for attracting millennials. And finally, millennials are more likely to ask their friends and family to replace a physical birthday gift with donating to a specific nonprofit. Generation X, my generation, was born 1965 to 1980, and it's the smallest generation, sitting at about 20% of the US population. And Gen Xers, we grew up with rising divorce rates, a declining economy, we're often called latchkey, both parents were working, and these events influenced us to prioritize self-sufficiency and individuality. Now, some giving stats: top supporters of human rights and environmental issues and health services. 49% are enrolled in monthly giving programs. 31% gave because of emails, and 59% are inspired to donate because of something they saw on social media. Now, this is the group to call on if you need volunteers for your organization's events. We love to give our time, talents, and money to worthy causes. We also donate more frequently than other age groups. This generation is comfortable with technology. Gen Xers value donating and connecting with nonprofits online, primarily through mobile devices and social media. So more than 88% of Generation X is on Facebook, and they respond well to peer-to-peer fundraisers hosted on Facebook. This demographic also responds well to email campaigns that detail your organization's mission and give them an opportunity for monthly giving. Once again, transparency is key with Gen X, so be clear about your goals and where their donations will be going to build trust and credibility, and translate their donation amounts into tangible results to show them the impact of their support through visual content like photos and videos. And Gen Xers will also tend to partake in workplace philanthropy. Both Gen X and millennial donors are 4 to 5 times more likely to participate in corporate-sponsored fundraisers. And finally, tap into Gen X's love for volunteering and tie volunteering to giving. Baby boomers were born 1946 to 1964 and account for 23.6% of the US population. Baby boomers grew up fighting for women's liberation and civil rights. They're often characterized by their strong work ethic and propensity to value relationships. As such, they tend to be the most loyal supporters. They make up the majority of overall donations to charity at 43%. Most of this generation regularly gives to charities and is heavily involved in monthly giving programs. So, some giving stats: 72% give to charity, 49% are enrolled in monthly giving, 24% gave in response to direct mail. So boomers have begun to embrace online in increasing numbers. While boomers still give primarily through direct mail appeals, they tend to donate online more now. So make sure donation forms are highly visible and easy to use, and also add monthly giving options and promote this reoccurring gift program. Baby boomers are still the largest consumer of traditional media, but they're also using Facebook. Facebook is the most used platform for this demographic. An email newsletter is likely to be read by this generation. They like to receive updates and donation asks via email. Baby boomers are very particular about how you address them, so make sure your emails are personalized. Millennials and Gen X donors aren't the only ones who like peer-to-peer. Boomers do need to be given the right tools though, and resources and encouragement to get started, so you can provide them with the materials they need, like email templates and sample social media posts. Boomers love a story. Create a story around your giving strategy, which will help attract more donors to your cause. And finally, all donors like to be thanked, but especially baby boomers. They are loyal, but they can also change loyalties depending on how you steward them. The silent generation was born 1945 or earlier. This generation is also known as the maturers or the civics. They represent 26% of overall giving. They lived through the Great Depression and the Second World War. While they are a shrinking generation, members give the most per capita each year and donate the largest number of charities. So some giving stats: they're top supporters of emergency relief, veterans, politics, and the arts, and they represent 26% of total giving. Mature donors rely the most on direct mail to support and engage with the causes they care about. Even though they prefer to send in an old-fashioned check in the mail, 35% have made an online gift. While most younger generations prefer not to interact via phone calls, this generation still is responsive to this means of communication and fundraising. And planned giving is a donation method that is perfectly suited to mature donors because they appreciate when charities develop that strong one-on-one relationship with them. Thank you so much for staying to the end. And if you found this valuable, please hit the thumbs up so YouTube knows I did a good job. I also want to acknowledge Classy and the Community Fund for the stats that we covered today. I'm going to link that in the description. So thank you and see you next week.